Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm God's servant, Maxwell Nnawuihe. Welcome to the part 4. In this part 4, we are focusing on non-facts and facts. What are the non-facts? Things that are not facts, scenarios that are not facts, and also those that are facts. And also the Biafra question, which has been what has actually been achieved. This is the part 4. Remember, we have taken the part 1, the part 2, and the part 3. And this series was informed by the argument or the article of Mike Arnold, which he wrote to Biafrans, he wrote to Nigerians in the context of the Biafran question and NNAMDI KANU. That is what we are doing. So this is the part 4. And if you are still with me, it means that you are so conversant with all we have been discussing all the way from the part 1 to part 3. And I encourage you, if you are just joining for the first time, make sure after now you go to the part 1, the part 2, and the part 3 and watch. Pay attention. You will find links, all the links to the part 1, to the part 2, and to the part 3. You will find those links in the description below this video. And also, we will try and put them in the comment section so that you will not struggle to find them. When you click on them, you will watch from the part 1, the part 2, to the part 3, so that you can also understand what we are discussing in the part 4. So, awareness comes first. Politics comes later. That has been the argument of Mike Arnold. In the part 2, we examined his claim that international powers, they hardly intervene simply because people are asking them to intervene. And in the part 3, we also looked into major historical examples which influenced political outcomes in their own time. From the Bible, we saw it, and from history, we also saw it. Now, the most important question is this: has the Biafran independence movement achieved anything at all? Has there been things that the Biafran independence movement led by Maxwell Nnawuihe Kanu has achieved? Because critics, they often say, oh, nothing has been achieved. Many of them, that's what they've been saying and writing. And as a result, many of them refuse to support the independence movement. Some of them say that our people have died, our youth have been killed. If you're on the social media, on the internet, you will hear all of these things going on, heated debate. Some of them say that the movement has failed. Oh, our people have died for nothing. Those in prison, they are in prison, languishing without any hope of achieving Biafra. Some of them are also saying, the world is not listening at all. The world is not paying attention to what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu is still in the detention. From detention to imprisonment. Now he's in prison. That is what a lot of them are saying. But is that really true? Is it true? Or that there are successes that many people are failing to recognize for whatever reason? Let us examine the facts and also examine the non-facts and put them in their proper perspectives. If you agree or disagree with the facts, let us know in the comment section. And if you agree or disagree with the non-facts, make sure that you also put your comment in the comment section. It's very important. Let's begin with the non-facts. What are those facts that are not true? What are those things that are not facts? Those, should I call them stereotype or oversimplified expressions or points? Let us begin with them. One of the non-facts is the Biafra movement has achieved nothing. That is one of the non-facts. It is not a fact. The Biafra movement has achieved nothing. Many people repeat this statement, but history does not support it at all. Whether one supports Biafra independence or opposite, politicians, business people, philosophers, whatever, religious people, if they support or they don't support, it doesn't make this a fact that the Biafran movement has not achieved anything. One fact is difficult to deny, and that fact is that the Biafra conversation is now global. All over the world is being discussed. 20 years ago, very few people outside Nigeria discussed Biafra. That is the truth. But as of today, International media, they know the name and they discuss it and pronounce it. Human rights organizations, they know the name Biafra, they know the name NNAMDI KANU. Foreign lawmakers, they know the name and they discuss it. Diplomats, they know the name and why NNAMDI KANU is in the Sokoto prison, why he was convicted and imprisoned. They know it. Courts in multiple countries, different advanced countries, they have considered the issues of Biafra, they have considered the issues of NNAMDI KANU connected to the Biafra independence movement. They have been discussing it, they know it. That is the truth. That alone represents a major shift. It also means that our awareness has increased dramatically, as I said in the part 2, and awareness is usually the first stage of every political struggle, like Mike Arnold was trying to tell us. Is that true or not? If it is not true, type in the chat section. If it is true, type in the chat section. That is why we are here. The second non-fact is that NNAMDI KANU is unknown internationally. NNAMDI KANU is, we are only talking about him in Nigeria or just a few places, but in the corridors of power where international politics take shape, where geopolitical matters are discussed, NNAMDI KANU is not known. NNAMDI KANU, nobody is talking about him. That is not a fact, it's a non-fact. The facts suggest otherwise, because before 2015, most international audiences had never heard about NNAMDI KANU. They have not. Before the 2015. Today, NNAMDI KANU is recognized internationally as a major figure in Nigeria's self-determination debate. Internationally, all over the world. They know. His case has been discussed by international human rights organizations. I hope you're aware of that. By foreign lawmakers, his case has been discussed. By legal observers, his case has been discussed. During his court processes or proceedings, you saw a lot of international observers in the courtrooms of Nigeria. His case, they were there in attendance physically. Did you think that an individual observer just paid his flight ticket to and fro and come to Nigeria to observe the court proceedings of NNAMDI KANU? Is that what you think? Don't you know that there are international organizations and bodies that send them, or countries, diplomats, send them to observe what is going on? They know. UN Human Rights Group and other related bodies, they also know and they discuss about it. They discuss about NNAMDI KANU. Supporters view this as evidence that the movement has broken through international silence. Critics may disagree. They may disagree with his politics, with his type of broadcast and his type of approach towards the Biafra independence movement. But they can no longer claim he is unknown. They can't say it. Remember, initially, they said that they are all miscreants. Chief Obasanjo called those supporting NNAMDI KANU and the IPOB that they are miscreants. A lot of people, politicians, call them miscreants. But after a while, they began to take them very serious, that these are forces that you cannot just ignore. So that argument is finished. If you agree with me, type in the chat section. If you disagree, your opinion is your opinion. I cannot argue with you. Type in the chat section. But make sure you follow us and listen with open mind. No prejudice, no bias. Just open up your mind and listen. The number 3 non-fact is this. No international body has raised concern. This is what some people are saying up to now, that no international body has raised concern about what is going on with the Biafra independence movement and the case of NNAMDI KANU. This is not accurate. One of the biggest developments supporters often point to is the opinion issued by the United Nations, the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. Okay? And also the working group, they raised concerns about NNAMDI KANU. His detention, that was in 2022, between the 30th of March to the 8th of April, as we have discussed earlier, and also in a lot of my broadcasts and videos. They raised concern and they called for his immediate and unconditional release, plus remedies to compensate him for wrongful and illegal detention in Nigeria. And that judgment is binding on the Nigerian government and upon the Kenyan government, as we have discussed and been discussing earlier and in other videos. Now, whether government chooses to act on those recommendations of the United Nations or not, it is a different matter altogether. But that does not diminish and that does not invalidate the power and the impact and the influence of that judgment, because that judgment actually influenced the Court of Appeal judgment on the 13th of October 2022, which now discharged Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Until today, the effect and the influence of that judgment is still in existence and being felt by the government of Nigeria. That is the truth. The existence of such findings of the United Nations demonstrate that international scrutiny exists and they are aware that the movement led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is legitimate, and that the government of Nigeria and the government of Kenya has not complied with the recommendations that the judgment of the United Nations suggested in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. That is fact. That is fact. If you have a different view on this, say it in the chat section. We will look into it. Point it out clearly. We are going to look into it and address it. So the big question is this. If these successes I have enumerated so far, plus the ones we are still going to point out before the end of this video, if these successes exist, number one, why has there not been a breakthrough? Number two, why is there still frustration? Number three, why are supporters still asking, when will the world act? When will the US act? When will Israel act? When will the world come to our aid? What is China doing? What is Russia still doing? The answer may be found in history. You know that history teaches us a hard lesson that is so hard for us to assimilate, for us to embrace, for us to accept. That is what history does sometimes. International attention and political outcomes are not the same thing. This is one of the things that history teaches us. It may be hard to believe, it may be hard to accept as truth or as fact, but it is the truth and it's fact. Many movements gained international attention after many years before they started achieving their goals. Many of them. Examples include India. We took time to discuss that in the part 3. Make sure you watch part 3 after now. Under Mahatma Gandhi, international awareness grew for decades, not just under 5 years or 10 years. How old is IPOB today? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu registered the organization in 2012. How old is it? So, but in the case of Mahatma Gandhi, it was for decades. A decade is 10 years. Okay? Before their independence arrived. The same thing with South Africa. The South Africa we are talking about today. The anti-apartheid movement, they spent years building global pressure before apartheid eventually ended. And Mandela became the first president of South Africa after the end of apartheid in 1994. East Timor, the same. The independence movement of East Timor, they struggled for decades as well. They struggled for many decades before ever getting the sufficient international support, just like in the case of Biafra today. International support is coming gradually, bit by bit, but it's not yet sufficient. And so you must not lose hope. And you must not join those that say that, oh, Nnamdi Kanu has failed. Oh, he's in the prison now. When do you think he will come out? That is the end of the struggle. And maybe you will find another person that will lead the movement. Don't do that. The more you do that, the more you send a wrong signal. And the more you create a very wrong data for analysis at the international level. That shows that you don't even believe in your own freedom. It is wrong. East Timor didn't just get it instantly. India didn't get their independence instantly. What that matters is that they did not quit. They continue to mount pressure. They continue to create awareness. They continue to influence government policies in so many ways, strategic, as we have been discussing all the way from the part 1, the part 2, and the part 3. This is the part 4. Make sure you watch part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. This is the part 4. You will find the links to the part 1, part 2, and part 3 in the description below this video. Click those links. They are typed out clearly to show you which part is the link. Click on them, watch one after the other. And we shall continue the part 5 after this. Very, very important. Eritrea the same. Eritrea, the struggle lasted many years before statehood became a reality in their own time. So in each case, awareness came first, just like in the case of IPOB. As we have been discussing, awareness has been there. It has grown dramatically, and it is so powerful, and nobody can ignore it. Political change came later. In all these instances, India, South Africa, East Timor, Eritrea, political change came later, and sometimes it came so late. So late, but eventually it came.
These are the repentant Boko Haram members swearing by the Quran that they have completely dissociated themselves with any form of religious extremism and wrong ideological belief.
We told them to abide by the terms and conditions of the Quran. That is, not to go back to any form of violence, not to support the enemy, and to support the armed forces in the ongoing counter-insurgency operation. And
they should go back to their community, live with community there, work together, and they should not isolate themselves or form any group.
Traditional leaders, heads of paramilitary organizations, and academicians advised the youths to consider their reintegration as a second chance to become useful members of the society, calling on the society generally to continue supporting them by showing understanding, compassion, and acceptance. There were testimonies by some of the former Boko Haram members, especially the adverse effect of insurgency on peace, security, and cohesion.
Subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow Maxwell Nnawuihe for more updates. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Instagram for more updates.